To Beach Town.
Martini Racing Beach Tower. You should see them in Hollywood too. Like, actually, do you know what a beach is? We've got this. It's like where the water meets the land.
I've heard of these things. I felt like there was some mythical thing, but I didn't think they were real.
G'day everyone. Welcome to Porsche Talk podcast. Ajmal and I have not caught up for a few days. Happy to have you here today, Ajmal. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. My voice is starting to go, but otherwise good. It's proper autumn weather now because obviously I think we were having a bit of a heat wave the last time I spoke to you. But don't worry, that heat wave disappeared after about 48 hours or something, and then it was like torrential rain and just general shittiness. But it's it's autumn. It's I like seasons, so it's autumn and I'm happy.
Fantastic. So for those listeners out there that are tuned into the Porsche Weather channel, we are enjoying our early summer here in Western Australia, which has been quite pleasant. The outdoor showers already engaged very early this year. So it's been...
No one needs to see that. No one needs to
get that image out of your head. I dare you. Okay. How is
what's going on this week?
How's the garage going? We're dying to hear about the doll's house.
Okay, so pretty big news actually. The roof is on.
What?
So the roof properly clay tiled. Obviously all the battening, the waterproof membrane, the tiles, everything's on. The walls, the frame, all of that's up. The flooring's done. So it's just needs, well, the scaffolding's got to come down yet, but needs the power, sort of maybe a data connection because there's no signal up there because it's quite far from the house, and water.
Oh,
and we're rocking.
I've had a pretty busy week to 10 days since we last spoke with the cars. Should we talk about that?
What? Yeah, tell me.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been working on the 356 because I had oil leaks. Now, people say you got an air-cooled Porsche, it goes with the territory, right? But I've got to be honest with you, Ajmal, it shits me a bit when the car's leaking all that. Don't get me wrong, I understand a bit of weep, a bit of seepage. I've owned air-cooled cars long enough to know that what goes with the territory. This was more than that. Now, admittedly, the valve covers are a newer style valve cover than the one that originally came with my motor. So it's got the breather vents on the top, and which, look, is a design thing that when the motors were new, one of the oil squirters for one of the rockers points towards a valve cover to come back, and then after a certain amount of time, you're supposed to block them at the dealer when the cars were new, but no one ever did it. And it pisses the oil out of the vent.
Oh, God.
Right?
Yeah.
So when the car was rebuilt, the motor was rebuilt. The guy that did it, he put a metal spot welded a metal cover over the direct vent so it'd hit it, but it wouldn't piss out through the vent, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
But it's still more than I'd like comes out, and it drops onto the exhaust. I've got people in the household complaining that when the car comes back after a drive, it stinks out the garage, and I've got to be honest, it was irritating me quite a lot. Okay. So I decided to completely gut the whole back end of the car, so to speak, and jet washed it, degreased it, jet washed it again, dried it all off, took the valve covers off, replaced the rocker cover gaskets. I sealed the vents. Okay.
How?
Glad you asked. I used an exhaust. I needed something that's going to be good for over 300 degrees Fahrenheit temperature because of the oil temperature that can get up to in there. So I used an exhaust putty to seal it, and then I used some of that epoxy metal stuff that I've sealed up over the top of that. So, and that's rated to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. So hopefully that'll deal with my problems. But go on.
The putty.
Yes.
If the putty won't that if that breaks up, isn't that going to go into the engine? Because won't there be suction?
I've got a full flow oil system on my car. So it may do, right? However, I didn't think of this idea myself.
Oh, right. Okay.
Other people have done it, right? Oh, look, I don't know about the trusted bit, mildly concerned about the tried bit, but I've done it, cleaned all the surfaces up, straightened out my valve covers because there's a slight warp in one of them, put it all back together. Been for driven probably equivalent about 120 miles since I've done it. Not a drop anywhere.
Nice.
So I use the gaskets that have got the metal insert in them. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can reuse the gaskets, right? They're the new style ones that cost like $2 more per pair.
Yeah.
Right. Which is nothing. And the old gaskets used to get sucked in all the time and cause oil leaks. Anyway, so I think that's done that, right? That's fixed at the moment, touch wood, that's fixed that problem. The next thing was my car doesn't come back to idle very willingly. Okay. Right. Not an uncommon problem with centrifugal advance, right? On a distributor. However, I've got the Ignition 123 distributor on my car.
I've got that in my bedroom as well.
Yeah, I've got mine in my car. You should try it. And I was getting frustrated by it. Like it's just shitting me to tears. When the car's cold, it's fine, but when it warms up, it's terrible. And I was speaking to Pete Thompson, who was a guest on the podcast. You might remember, an Irishman, yeah. And I said, "Look, Pete, this is killing me. I'm ready to just drive the car off a cliff. That's how frustrated I am." For listeners out there, don't worry, I'm not going to drive the car off a cliff. However, he said, "Well, what's your advance like? What's your advance setup?" And I didn't install the distributor, and I've had the car serviced, but I've not checked the timing myself.
Yeah.
Okay. And look, at idle, it was too far. It was about 8 degrees below top dead center instead of about 3. You know what I mean? So I thought I'll fix that. I'm mucking around, get all that. It's an imprecise science using the timing light. However, when the motor was rebuilt, I did replace the crank pulley with one from CSP, who make a lot of air-cooled parts in Germany there. That is a CNC machine with laser-etched advance and retard marks on the pulley. So that makes it easier, right? But regardless, it's still an imprecise thing, but it's close. I retarded it a bit. And because my idle problem isn't my carbs, they snap shut like a mousetrap. They are good, right? So it had to be something to do with the ignition. Since I've done it, it's been much better. But also since I've done it, I haven't driven the car in any heat. Whereas last time it was tipping me over, it was like 35, 38 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we're talking American listeners, 90s. So the car it was warm temperature. I just don't think my Ignition 123 works in high ambient temperatures very well.
That's interesting, because obviously my 912 has always had the high idle problem, right? And I always thought it was the Advance that wasn't clicking back. And I changed the silicon slide inside it because that was cracked, and that made a massive difference. Mm-hmm. But it's gradually got worse. But it hasn't gone to the point where before I changed that, it was at, you're at something like 2,500 RPM when the car was properly warmed up.
Yep.
And you'd be at traffic lights, sat next to somebody, and they're thinking you've initiated launch control or something. So it was ridiculous. But changing that silicon slide or sheet, made a difference. But it's still when it got the longer you drove it, the more it heated up, the higher and higher it got. So when I get it back, I'm going to do the ignition 123, and obviously we don't get those temperatures. I mean, okay, we do sometimes, but they just touch that. But I really hope it's going to change the way it runs, and also I'm going to have to get a new fuel pump. So I need to go and see Max at Revival and get a regulator and a fuel pump because it's the remote
Sure.
the mounted fuel pump, electronic, and that's what I've got at the moment. But it's the contact inside it isn't quite right, so it's just clicking away like crazy, either overfueling or it just stops working. So I need to change that, and I'm hoping that's going to make it run better because it's there's been a period of about 2 months. I think it ran really well and I really enjoyed it. And that was when, I used to make those videos where I'd go like, I'm just going to rev it as high as it's going to go and it's going to be amazing. And, at the back of your mind thinking a bunch of bolts are probably going to come flying out the side. But it's not really run that well since. So I need to do that just so I can get that enjoyment out of it. And also, my wife has said this year that we have to, because we put a Christmas tree outside the front door
Yes.
because we're at the top of the high street in our village, and there's an expectation from the other villagers that we have a Christmas tree at the top of the.
Sure.
And obviously, last year,
she bought you the roof
no, it
rack.
was the year before. Yeah, it was in the coming. No, it's coming out the sunroof of the 996,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be 8 foot. So this year, my wife's saying, "Well, you can put it on the 912 on the roof rack and bring it home."
That she
I'm
bought
just a
for
bit
you.
worried that. Yeah, well, the thing is, yeah, that she did buy for me, but the roof rack it's. I mean, I don't know if you've seen one of those. It's the vintage speed one. Have you seen one close up?
Yeah, it's not. Look, it's an aesthetic,
It's
not
ornamental.
a structural thing.
Yeah, it feels completely ornamental. So when I press it with my hand, the middle of it touches the roof of the car, and
Yep.
it's got these little pads that kind of hold it up. But my car, someone has done this stupid thing where they've put a roof aerial in it. And it must have been in the 70s when they had those spring bouncy aerials
Perfect.
in the middle of the roof. Yeah, and it's got a cable that runs along the side of the screen inside that looks like a Cat 5. It looks like someone's put clips over it that they've hammered like the telephone cable outside the house.
You've gone through this process of your dad installing your first car stereo on your car when you had P-plates, haven't you? So you've gone through with this
exactly.
antenna.
I mean, it definitely looks like that. But the problem is, I thought I could just take it off and I'd put some kind of plate there, one that you could bolt on. But it's so they've painted around it. Someone's repainted the car with the aerial on. So I can't take it off. So I've just undone the aerial and screwed it, but the mount is on there. So the roof rack is resting on the mount. But even looking back at that, looking at the stereo that was already in there, and it looked like it been in a fire or something when I opened it up. It was an Italian 60s make. So it was never going to work again. I think I fiddled with it so much, and it got to the point where a light inside it came on, and I thought, "Oh my god!" But it was never going to work. Mm-hmm. So I got one of those Sanyo new old stock ones I think they're from the 70s. But when I went to wire it, it was wired into the lighter. So I
don't
17.
Yeah.
Yeah, you found the nearest positive and you should have plugged it into that.
Handcuff yourself to it. Yes, that's exactly right.
But the thing is, the wire ran down the back of the metal portion of the dash.
Shorted out.
The brushed bit. Yeah, and it was a really old plastic perished wire, and it was shorting all the time, so the battery was dying all the time. So I had to undo all of the wiring back there, wire it properly into the ignition switch, so it turned on and off. And I've put that in properly. But the roof rack, I'm gonna have to get. I might have to put an 8-foot tree on it and just collapse the roof or something.
And deal with the consequences.
Just to
keep your wife happy about the fact she bought you a roof rack.
Yeah, exactly. So and also the 8 foot, tree. Otherwise, it could go in the hatchback. But she's going to say, well, if you've got the roof rack, you've got the car, you've got the garage, it's Christmas.
It might be time
Do
to
it.
take her out to the car and show her how ornamental the roof rack is.
She's seen it from a distance,
Okay.
and she gave it a shrug of the shoulders. And meh, it's okay, I guess.
Well, speaking of
She
batteries,
likes the
speaking of
yeah.
batteries, I actually had to replace a battery in the 356 too.
What?
Yeah, so getting the battery in it's probably about 5 years old, maybe 6 years old because I've already replaced it once before. So I use an Optima, but it's a 6 volt car, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yes.
And it doesn't have the cranking juice a lot of cars do when you start it, as you can imagine, even with the clean earths everywhere and everything. Because I do go through once a year and clean all the earth points around the car just because it does make a big difference on how willing it starts. And combine that with the fact
Yeah.
it's not an everyday driver. It might go a month without getting started occasionally, and you go a month without starting that car, it just hates you as a human because you're waking it up. But so I had to replace that battery. Or actually, where I store the car, they went to pull it out and they couldn't. They said it's just dead as a doornail. Put it on charge. Wasn't taking charge. What do you want me to do? I said, just call this guy here. He'll come out and replace it and send me the bill. So I actually didn't have to do it, but it did need doing. In fact, I don't even know if it got done. They might have just charged me the money for it.
And it charged you.
No, seriously,
Just recharged it.
they are nice guys that run the place. The GD4. Firstly, I hadn't driven it in like 6 weeks, Ajmal. 7 weeks
6 weeks.
because I was away,
You
and then I had to go
oh
away
right,
for
that's true.
work.
You're right.
Remember? And
Yes.
man, it's a good car. Like the exhaust on it, everything. Drive that car with the windows open, like that combined intake noise because it's right behind you, and the exhaust noise that comes out of that Porsche Sports exhaust that's fitted to the car. I just can't even believe that car's exhaust is legal. That's the sort of sound it makes. It sounds like something that should be racing at Le Mans. Is the only way to
Is it a
describe it.
standard one?
Yep,
Is it
bog
just stock?
stock, never been modified. Factory Porsche Sports exhaust. But this is the last year before they fit all their stop making noise things to make them more produce less carbon or whatever justification they came up with to make the cars sound like Dysons, right? But what a cracker of a motor car. I forgot how good it was. So
Did you? But did you? I mean, can you drive it with the window open there? You might get hit by a giant mosquito or a kangaroo or an ostrich or something. I don't know.
look, you could definitely assume that could happen. However, right, it hasn't yet.
Right.
By the way, we don't have ostriches here. We have emus. Very similar looking.
Oh, that's
things.
sorry, Muse.
Yeah.
I should have known that.
Yeah. On the other thing is finally, after how long have I had the car? 18 months coming up to, right?
Gotcha.
The reverse camera works.
What?
It hasn't worked since I got the car, right? So it's been back and forth to the Porsche Center. They then get a contractor in to have a look at it. An electrical guy, auto electrician style guy. He's sitting there shaking his head again. And they said, okay, we've got one more guy. Send out him, who I actually know the guy. His name's Jason. He runs a place called carstereoshop.com here in Western Australia, and he works on a lot of high-end European cars and exotics for whatever reason that they might need any work done for the stereos and all that sort of thing, reverse cameras, if they were legal, counter laser measures for the speed control, as well as other things. And he had to actually import the module from Germany from the manufacturer that supplied the Porsche because Porsche no longer supply the part that had failed.
What on a 5-year-old car?
2016, where we're at, 7 years old.
Oh, 7 years. I thought it was 2018. Still 7. It's not old.
Oh, look, it's an electric box. You know what cars are like. for that type of stuff.
True. Okay, so that was a warranty. So that was a warranty job then.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all done and dusted now. Put it in reverse. Ping, it all works. Everything's there. So
Oh wow.
finally, after that long. So that's the car update. I've put out a video on my YouTube channel.
I did see that. Yes.
An epic.
Do you know what? Well, the thing is, it's because it came up at the same time as a whole load of others. Like Johnny Smith put one out.
Oh yeah,
Jeff, Jeff put one out.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of came up all at the same time. And as you know, I'm kind of
off YouTube.
I dislike it, but I don't really watch YouTube because it's become, I don't know what it is. It's become a bit samey.
Yeah, I get it. And look, you don't have to apologize for not watching my shithouse videos, all right? I'm okay.
I did watch your shithouse video. Well, but the thing is, it doesn't mean I don't watch them. There's some that I still watch, but it's just before there were some video content producers who were prolific and they were doing some stuff that nobody else was doing, and it was pretty good. But then it just became so, you know, when you think, oh, there's that video by that guy who I quite like, so you start watching something. Mm-hmm. But now it gets to the point you just skim past it and go, right, no. Yeah. And before you know it, you go, no, there's nothing on there that I want to watch.
Yeah, I 100% understand. I do the same thing. Yeah. You know, and the thing I watch most on YouTube, and this will absolutely thrill the listeners, no doubt, is calisthenics exercises that I do in the mornings. That's my bread and
you changed, man.
Oh, that's my bread and butter of YouTube these days. I don't actually I watch very, very little car content for the same reason you watch very little car content, and that is there's just not much original stuff coming out anymore.
No, there isn't. And also some of it, you know, I'm not that interested in the massively exotic new cars.
Yeah, I'm the same.
But at the same time, you know, someone came out because recently I've just started looking at. So I think it's just because of what I see on the roads. Every now and again, you see something a bit different. And I saw a 1980s Renault 5. You know the ones that were kind of so basic.
Are we going to have this conversation about is it classic or is it just shit? Are we going to have that conversation again?
No, we've done that. That was it was the old bullshit or not. You know, it was the most of the shit. And I think we concluded that an old immaculate Nissan Bluebird is just shit.
Yeah,
1.6L.
Anyway, unless it's a 3-litre.
Did they make a 3-litre? I know they made an.
I don't think about the old Skyline. You know, the very.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because they made Nissan Silvia. Now you're talking. But when they made was it the Toyota Camry in the 80s? You know, that completely sort of square, boxy one.
Hang on.
You know, it had smooth edges to the box.
Yeah, before you shit can those, right? Just remember those early Camrys were rear-wheel drive.
They were. They made a V6.
Yeah, so that'd be drift material today. That car came out, wouldn't it?
Yes, I'd think that's probably one of the few cars that I would prefer as a drift car.
Well, you did say Nissan Silvia, so all I'm thinking is 2JZ right now, right?
But the thing is, But when I saw this Renault 5, and you know, most of the journeys that I do are really short, and which is probably why I hardly ever drive my 996.
Sure.
Because I don't want to do the really short where it never really gets a full heat cycle through it. So I just don't use it. And I was thinking, but if I had something like that, like a Golf Mark 1, just a bog standard 5-door 1.1 or a 1.3, I'd love one of those. Or an Alpha Sud. Like you put a basic one, but then they've all rusted away. If I had a rusty one, rust away.
Stop. What? You've got to stop right now. You don't need a Renault 5 or a Golf Mark 1 that costs you more than your 996 did, and you're more worried about a heat cycle in that.
That is true. I should probably just go for a Lancia Stratos or something.
when you're going to sell a house and not tell a wife.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I was saying to my wife, I saw something. I can't remember what. Oh yeah, that was it. I saw an Aston Martin Vantage from 2006,
Oh yeah,
and
that's just a hand grenade that someone's pulled the pin on. Yeah,
the thing is, if I was to buy one, I'd probably buy a higher mileage one because all the shit that's going to happen to it, it's probably already happened,
it had to be
and
fixed
it's
already.
been used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone's using it, and it's full of Ford and Volvo parts back then.
What a pretty car though.
Oh, it still looks fantastic. And guess what? It was like less than 20 grand. Full service history, looked fantastic. And I say to my wife, "Oh, look at this." And she went, "You know the rules. It's got to be one out to get one in."
Is that
And I went,
is that a rule in your house?
"No, no, no, that's the rule now because I haven't got any money."
Oh, okay, right. Okay. Yeah, I
So
know
she'd
you're
have to
working
pay for
again.
it. Yeah, I am, but my salary is doing paying the bills at the moment. But 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 I said to her, "Over the spot in the garage," and she went, "No." She said, "No,
That's
there's no
that's
other
for all
one."
the shit out in that shed that you don't know what's in there anymore. That's what they get space that garage is for.
She's the voice of reason, and if it wasn't, I would just start looking at them.
Yeah,
But because it's not an option, I just stopped. I think it just came up, and I feel like these apps that make recommendations, they use cookies and they probably listen to what you're saying via your phone.
right
I feel like
now.
they're now reading my mind. I think like they're now reading my mind. So I was walking down the road and I was thinking, do you know what? I wonder if there's one. And I just opened about 2 days later. I opened the eBay app. The first thing that came up was Aston Martin Vantage, and it says we've detected that your brainwaves are thinking about.
Now, do you know what it is? It's firstly, you're the first person to open up an eBay app since about 2020, right? No one's opened up the eBay app since COVID. I just don't even know how that's actually a platform that anyone's buying anything from anymore. It's up there with
Well,
Amazon.
I bought two things last week.
Off eBay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's been a long time,
Yeah,
but
okay. What was it?
it was some steel hubcaps for my new Group 4 Steelies
Yeah, nice.
that aren't made of steel. And well, two things. Yeah, that one was a set of them that you can't tell if they're dented to hell because they're so filthy. They need
Yes.
polishing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them had the crest missing off it, so I had to buy the crest separately. Now, the reason I bought those was they were £80 for the four.
Bargain.
Now, normally everybody else wants like 500 quid for beaten to hell ones. You go, there's no way. I'd rather just go without. But then when these came up, I thought, yeah, you know what? I'll have those. One of them's got the crest missing, but it doesn't matter. Worst case, I'll take all of them off, all the crests off. But I then put in a bid for just the crest, which was £15, which I thought was quite a lot considering the actual hubcap with the crest that I bought was 20 quid.
Yeah, yeah.
So the problem was the guy then messaged me and refunded me the money and said, I took a photo of it, but I've since lost it. He said, I'm really sorry.
Did you feel like you were dealing with you?
I did, yeah, a little bit. I was like, what? And I went, no, I appreciate you reaching out. No worries, dude. Thanks for letting me know. But the eBay app is there and selling stuff like,
Yeah.
old
Look,
hubcaps, crests, and Vantages.
in here in Australia, the only thing you get on eBay is just businesses nowadays. No one actually sells old shit themselves for auction on eBay. I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw something that was available that people use Gumtree over here, which is like a Facebook Marketplace type thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Facebook Marketplace has probably replaced eBay to a degree on a lot of that type of thing.
It probably has. I guess it's charge free, but it's got no protection, has it?
Oh, look, can you imagine trying to actually claim back on eBay? You'd be dreaming.
I've not had to do it. But no, but hang on. Before we move off the Aston Martin Vantage,
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
how much are they over there? A 2006.
I have no idea. I reckon it'd have to be 100 grand car here.
100 grand? Man, I'll go and buy all the 20 grand ones and send them over to you.
Yeah, but you know what? By the time they got here, you'd have to piece one together out of the bits that were left that fell apart on the ship that rusted apart.
It only needs to work to the point that you're handing it over to somebody and they need to be able to get home, and that's it.
No, it's not true,
So that would
Ajmal.
be bad
I've got plenty of years ahead of me that I'm going to have to sleep at night.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that would be a bad thing to do.
Had
I'm, I'm, I still, when I see one, just there's something in me that says I want one, but at the same time, I know that I'd get bored with it
yeah, okay,
because it's a great looking car. You'd always, so it's the one that you always look back at wherever you park it. You look back at it. But it's a GT car. It's 4.3 liter. You know, if you get the V8,
hmm
yeah, it's fast. Obviously, if something went wrong with it, it would be horrific. But
hang on, what are you talking about?
also,
It's filled full of parts that run taxis around the world.
yeah, see, that's the thing. You would have to know. You just have to look up the part number because it's even the. I think even the key fob. If you peel the leather off it, it says Volvo under it. So, you know, the power steering pump, stuff like that, you know, it's just off a Volvo or a Ford Mondeo. So if you
Got
went
it.
to, Aston, they'd go, it's £1,000. But if you went to a local,
eBay.
auto part place, or an auto part place, they'd go, it's £200.
Yeah, okay.
So you'd be able to keep it going. But it's, I think it feels like an older person's car, even though it's one of the better ones. Like, I used to like the DB7,
Sure.
but I always felt like the Jaguar XKs and things like that feel like they're an older person's car.
Do you
I don't know.
feel, but that the age of the car is changing at the same age as you are, right? So do you think that car will always be that generation away from you?
No, because there's some cars that you can look at and say, I'll never be old enough to own that. And some people who are born old enough to own them,
Yeah,
if that makes
yeah, that's
sense.
fair. Yeah, like Morgan owners.
Yeah, or an XJ of some kind.
Yeah, sure. The we had classic cars and coffee here on the weekend and went down with the 356 and the sausage dog and my daughter.
Nice.
And I drew the conclusion that I reckon in my 11 years, 12 years of ownership of that motor car now, I reckon I could have paid it off if I had $1 for every photo taken of it.
God, yeah, that's true.
Like it was parked next to a stunning 930, right?
Mm.
Absolutely plum this car was. And the photos are like, I was talking to someone across the way who had this like Rolls Royce convertible phantomy thing with wood on the deck, right? It looked amazing, this car did. But I was just talking to him about that. So I could sort of see what was going on. My daughter was sitting in the passenger seat, patting the dog. And I'm looking over there and I'm thinking, there's not a woman that walks past that doesn't take a photo. And half the men do.
They're such good looking cars. It's the same as I get the same thing with the 912. It's once you get kind of into the 80s, they're kind of they become a blokes thing. But cars that are from the 70s and 60s,
Yep.
they kind of appeal to everybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. The
But it's just because when you see like a G body type thing,
mhm.
and 30, they're kind of 80s stockbrokers type thing.
Dentist.
Yeah, so people look at those and you go, oh yeah, it's a Porsche, but that's it. Whereas that people, ooh and ah about them. And then they're much prettier cars. Let's face it.
Why? What? I actually, I, I think that the 993 is a pretty looking car, whereas I don't think the 964 is. Right?
Well. I I like the back of the 993. The front, I'm not sure about because I feel like it's too fat around the lights.
Yeah. Okay.
And and the 964 has grown on me because bizarrely last night I had a drink with Simon Jessup
Yeah. Okay.
and he's got a red 964 and it is just fantastic. Every little detail that you look at that car, even the little bits of wear inside it. I mean, you'd have to really look hard to actually find the wear on it.
Sure.
It's low mileage. It's so maintained. But it's just, you just look at it, it's so dinky. It's just when you look at it, how narrow it is, how
Yeah.
low it is, and you just think, I love just this everything about it. It's just small and perfectly formed. But now obviously they're just completely out of reach because
I,
they're,
I think that
everyone's breaking them up.
I think the 964 is the most ready to stance 911. The low bumper, bulky bumper height. Looks like its ass is dragging on the ground at stock ride height. And then when people lower it, it just looks the business. You know what I mean? I just think, like, you look at Andy's photos of Andy
Yes.
from last Rasp, his car, is stanced to perfection, and that's not, his green 964. And every time I see them on social media, they just look so menacing with how focused they are on the way they ride. I really, that's what I really like about 964s.
That's the same with Simon's. It's not slammed by any means. It's
Mhm.
just right. It's not,
Yeah.
when you've got he's got the standard wheel, and you've got the way that the wheel rests in the arch.
Hang on, wait. When
It's
you
not
say standard on 964, you talking like that monoblock style, or are you talking about the turbo style?
They're the turbo style ones.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're the turbo style ones. I'll
He'll
have to
tell
put a
us.
photo of it on later. He'll tell us. But the thing is, and the thing that Simon was saying to me is that I should sell my 912,
Really?
and I should trade it. I should trade up
Into what?
into a G body, a 930 of some kind.
Yeah.
Into
You're not
no,
going to
but
get.
then
Yeah.
no, but then keep going, because you have to put money in every time. You can't just go, I'm going to sell it for a bit more because everything else has gone up. So you have to always put some money in.
Yeah, but
But
930s now, they're horrific money for the driving experience.
oh yeah, I mean, it's happened over here a bit later, um, because I think it's in the last few years they've really gone up. But then it's everyone's looking for the next thing, aren't they? That they can throw money at or that
Sure.
they can get into. And at the moment over here, it's the 964. The 964 is expensive, and I really wanted one probably about 5 years ago. And when you go 5 years ago, oh, I should have bought that. Why didn't I buy it? Because I didn't have the money.
Of course.
It's the same reason now. It doesn't matter that it's gone up or down. I don't have the
You
money.
still don't have the money
But
yet.
exactly. But it's just, I think it's just that it's a proper analog car, but it just, there's that slightly more refined feel about it. And you have to drive it. You have to pay attention when you're driving it. Because even in my 996, obviously it's got traction control,
Sure.
and you can drive it hard, but I still feel like if I lost it around a bend, there's no way I'm getting that back. So that's just going to be going backwards into a tree.
You've heard it here first. I'm going to make a call. Okay.
Go on.
The cars that went stupid during COVID are minutes away from their big correction.
They are. I believe they are.
And that is the whole G-body 964, 993 series of cars. 996s have already had their correction here in Australia. But the same cars are 40% cheaper now than 6 months ago.
They never had a moment over here. They never
I know that. We spoke about them a number of times on the channel because remember I did that comparison of Yaris's and 996s.
Yeah, it didn't go up. But the thing is, I don't think the 993 has skyrocketed as much as the 964.
They're still dearer than 964s here.
Really?
Yep. So they've maintained their, I guess, appeal over and above the 964 right throughout this time. I know in the UK and some areas of the US for specific cars, it's been the case where 964s are more valuable. But let's face it, if you're buying on condition, a good 964 is always a better buy than a shit 993, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But if you compare like with like, There's not, the 964s aren't more valuable than 993s here in Australia. Like with like, that whole Singer, I guess, I was going to say myth, but urban myth that they're going around and just buying up every shell that becomes available. I've not seen any evidence of that.
I don't know. There's not many around. There's not many around for sale over here. I don't know.
They didn't sell many though either, Ajmal, remember?
No, that's true. Yeah, because it was on the decline then, wasn't it?
Yeah, not just on the decline. You had you had a stock market crash during its production. You know what I mean? So that's why there's no 964 turbos. Like 964 turbos are gold plated, right? Because they just didn't make many of them. Speaking of which,
that just takes me back to the rarity.
Yeah, saw a stunning navy blue with linen and like light blue piping interior 964 turbo classic cars and coffee that was just a dreamboat of a car. Like the paint was just so deep you could trip over and fall into it,
Wow. Is that, but it's because I don't think I've ever seen a proper 964 turbo
Bad boys
flesh.
car.
Yeah, not really seen one. But I think they're I don't know, I mean, is it because of the stock market crash, or is it because people didn't like it? Because, I was talking to someone about this yesterday.
They were expensive.
They're expensive, but when like now people are modifying cars and they're putting 4-liter engines in and they've got 300 or 400 horsepower, and you just go, do I want to be driving something it's not all the R&D that Porsche put into that, right? Billions of it. And someone's just gone, I know what I'll do. I'll stick a 4-liter engine in there and double the horsepower. You just think that you've just ruined it. You can't drive it flat out. You can't really enjoy it. You can't push the limits on it. So I'm not sure I'm bought into the whole, yes, resto mod, I don't mind. But when it goes just that little bit too far, it has to be subtle, right? I don't know. It has to add something rather than just going, we're going to the experience of driving one rather than just how it looks written on a piece of paper. So I don't know. I'm not articulating it very well. I'm not.
Look, to that end, what I like about resto mods is there's someone's car and that's that person's car and they can do whatever they want to it.
That's kind of, I mean, that's a big thing in the US, right? Everyone wants custom.
Or and whatever you like because it's your car, you can do, right?
Yep.
Now, sure, I don't agree with most stuff that gets done like you, but, if you drive most high-performance modern Porsches, like RS products, that type of thing, right? They've got no torque to use on the street.
No.
You can't, unless you're at 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, you can't actually get any zing out of the car. And like, what's the point of having it if you haven't got the zing, right? So if that's the case, why buy the Porsche? Or if you've got a solution to fix it by bringing the torque right back down the curve, because you only really drive it on the street, you're not going to the track as often as you thought you would like or might, I can't see a negative to that, right? Whether that means if you've got a turbocharged model car and you just change the tune to suit what you're using the car for, man, do what you want. Knock yourself out.
Well, see, there's a real originality thing over here, but then, it takes me back to my...
English have always been like that, though.
Yeah, but it also takes me back to the Renault 5. Renault 5. And me wanting a Golf, a 1.1 or... I mean, I'd stretch to a 1.6.
Yeah.
But just a non-GTI 5-door chrome hubcaps.
Yeah.
I just love one, and I always every now and again look, and there's a model called a GX, I think it was. There's a GX or a GLX. I think both were a model, and I wanted those. I would have wanted one in silver with chrome hubcaps, and it would have. I think they had grey cloth interior with vinyl backs on the seats. And I just love one of those. I really would. But they're just so expensive, or they don't exist. I don't know.
Yeah,
People aren't
yeah, I
selling
get
them
it.
anymore.
I get it. Look, they're one of those cars that at some point they were too expensive to fix.
Yeah.
Because I feel that same way about Saab 900 turbos.
It's funny you say that. I saw one the other day. Which one are you talking about, though? Which
Aero.
one are you talking about? Oh, right. Okay. So what? Is that the 90s one
Yeah, 90s. Yeah, yeah.
with the big bumpers?
Yeah, yeah, big bumpers and colour-coded wheels.
Yes. So someone in my village has one. I see it
Really?
daily. Yeah, he's driving around. It's
Is it
dark
white?
red, burgundy
Oh, red. Yeah,
one.
yeah,
No, it's
okay. Yeah,
burgundy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I chat to him every now and again, and he said, "Yeah, I've had a few of these." And I went, "Oh, how many?" And he went, "Oh, three or four." And I went, "Oh, which ones did you have before?" And he went, "No, they were exactly." I said, "A few of these, they were exactly the same." So he's literally been buying the exact same car again
His
and
wife
again.
still thinks he's got the original one. Yeah.
And he's and I never really. I'd never been in a Saab 99 turbo. So that was one of the first kind of
Yep.
everyday
Yep.
cars that you saw that was turbo powered. And obviously
Mhm.
it probably would have had massive turbo lag.
And not just that, horrific torque steer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Front wheel drive.
Yes.
Um,
Engine in front of the
but
gearbox.
yes. And the key under the handbrake.
Yes.
Because that's a security feature. So the driver, you can't even get your
First
key
time
out.
you get in, where does this go?
Exactly. But the thing is, it's because my brother had a 9000 Saab 9000
Ooh.
in the 90s.
Was he an accountant?
No, he was at the time. I think he was a management consultant, which is
Of
kind
course
of
he
the
was.
same thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although during that time, he also had a Peugeot 1.9 GTI
Oh,
205.
nice, nice.
Um, so, but I remember when he had this, and I would have been a kid. He's like 5 years older than me, so he was
Sure.
quite young when he had it. So I would have been about 15. He would have been 20, and back then you could get cars like that at that age. I think it was a company car, and I can't remember where we went, and I had to wait in the car while he went to do something.
Yeah.
And I just kept turning the stereo on and off because the aerial would come out as you turn the stereo on. I just sat there turning it on and off, and it killed the battery. And when he came in, he said, "What the hell? This is like a brand new car. What's happened?" And I went, "I don't know." But it's just, I don't know. I mean, I just think something simple that, at the moment, my 996, for example, that it's got a bit of the last week, it's developed a wandering idle. And
yes, okay.
so I thought, well, okay, it could be something simple or it could be something quite big. Now it's got obviously timing chain guides. It's needed those since I've had it.
Yes.
But it still drives great. But the idle sometimes is at 1000 RPM, it's never done that before. It's always been a bit kind of up and down. Um, but and then people are saying, oh, it's the oil separator, it's the mass airflow sensor or something. Whereas other people are saying, oh yeah, that happened to me and I changed all of those things and nothing happened, and then the one day it just stopped doing it. The last thing you want is an intermittent problem.
Of course.
But whereas, if you have an old car, it's pretty simple. You just need, a pair of pliers and a hammer to fix it. Doesn't matter what's wrong with it. That's what I need in my life.
I don't think you use your 996 enough.
I think so too.
So
I'm still
forget these other joke cars, right?
What joke? A Golf Mark 1. What?
Okay.
Take that back.
Forget these other novelty cars. Look up the word novelty for me. See the word jokes associated with it. Now, forget these other novelty cars. Enjoy the car that's in the probably street getting shat on under a tree somewhere right now, right? And use that. Don't worry about this other stuff, Ajmal. You've got an aspirational car.
Yeah, I mean, I do love my 996, even
And you're
though Jack is
aspiring for mediocrity
yeah.
right now.
No, quirky is what I'm aspiring for.
You
Whereas
don't need more quirk, my friend. All right. You carrying enough quirk in your life.
I've heard that before, but because Jack is trying to convince me that I should sell the 996. He said, "Look, every time you got to change something on it, all the bolts break. It takes fucking forever to do anything on it." And I'm not sure he's going to allow me back when I say to him, I told you last time that the rear lower arms,
Yes, yes.
coffin arms, got
Yes.
changed just
Mm-hmm.
because they made a creaking noise.
Yes.
But changing them has just totally and utterly
Amplified all
showed
the other
up.
noise.
Yeah, how well, not the noises, the fact that it's like it's the back is now so different to the front.
The problem you've got from here though, like let's say you did sell it. And I'd love to hear the listeners' input on their opinions on this as well.
I
Where do
can't
you
get
go
another
from
one.
here? You're gonna have to go into a 997, right? Or you've sniffed
And
around
spend
on
lots of money.
991s. You're gonna not just spend more money, it's going to be too nice for you because you just don't give a rat's ass about it, right? So as a result, actually, you might time all right with a garage and you'll eventually get to spend some time indoors, right? But the brutal facts of the whole situation is the 996 perfect for you because you can treat it like shit and get away with it, whereas you're not going to get away with that on a more modern one.
No, I don't know. Maybe I just need to go all in Aston Martin Vantage. No, no.
That's the same era as your 996, the same generation. You
But
have the same problems.
that is true. I know, but the thing is, I love my 996. I
Yeah, but you
just
know
love
what?
it, honestly. Like, it makes me so happy.
If you found a 100,000 mile 991 manual C2, right,
Yeah.
you'd be all over it. You'd take it for a drive and handcuff yourself to it.
Yeah, if it was good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I haven't got any money. I can't afford it.
Let's look. The listeners don't
I
want
need
to
to
hear
try
you.
one.
The listeners don't need to hear someone who owns two Porsches crying poverty, all right?
The poverty Porsches, though.
You sound like that guy that's got 4924s, none of which are running in the backyard right now. He owns four Porsches, right? You sound like that guy. Sorry to any 924 listeners out there. Okay.
I'm not quite that. But the thing is, it's like one of my friends would really like a Boxster, and he's always looking at the ads for them. He wants he wants a really
Ooh,
nice one.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'll
And
talk
then
about this again in a sec. Go. Yep.
yeah, but the thing is, he says now I can't buy one. And I'm like, we have a coffee quite regularly. And I'm like, well, why not? And he said because you've got a 911. And he went, and a 911 always trumps a Boxster. The thing is, and I said, but I've got the crustiest, literally the crustiest 911 in the UK. And he went, yeah, but it's still a 911. Well, what cars do you own? I own a 911. It's, that's it. No one else needs to know anything else. That's his view on it.
And no matter what, you're not telling them.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, it is a 911. There's no other way that I would have been able to afford one. But it's just grown on me so much since I've had it. Because at first, and I think it's quite well documented. But at first, the first drive I had in it, and I was just like, "What's all the fuss about? This is average."
Yeah.
But it just wasn't used very often by the previous owner. And everywhere I went, I thrashed the life out of it for that first 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I just got in it, started it one day. It just sounded different from the off.
Yeah. Okay.
I drove it, and I just thought, "Oh my god, this is a different car from the moment I bought it." And since then, I've just loved it. Every drive, I love in it. Just need to drive more.
You do need to drive it more. Let's talk Boxturd for a second.
Yes.
I'm considering going down the debacle you did.
Oh my god.
With some assistance from a friend of ours, Jeff.
Oh, not his V8 or V10 or whatever he's doing.
He's what's he called? He's Rockstar, right? He's got the Audi V8 in it. Now, there's one here in Perth that's recently engine's taken a dump, and I know it's a young guy. He's not in a position to fix it. I reckon I could nick it. The rest of the car's in pretty good state, and I'm thinking it could be a project track car.
Oh, would you put it back to just a stock Boxster?
If by 6-litre LS V8 conversion you mean stock, yes, I would.
That fits in there.
There's companies in the States that sell you the kit to do it.
What's I mean? So it'd be if you so it'd be like you'd have a V8 behind you.
Yeah, 600 horsepower V8 sitting right there. Yeah.
What? The only thing is,
It sounds like a bit of fun, doesn't it?
It sounds like a lot of work to get there, but I'm not a track person, so I don't know.
It's not the first time it's been done. I'm not going to be blazing any trail here.
Yeah. Well, if they're selling a kit, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're selling the kit, and I'll just source the motor locally because those motors were put into millions of Holden or General Motors motor cars over here in Australia that are now sitting in wreckers, right? Because we've been wrapped around telephone poles, and so I'm thinking something like that, and then just doing the whole Berg Spider conversion, get rid of the windscreen type thing. You know what I mean? Don't even make it street legal.
But you're going to do that thing. Do you remember when someone did that thing where they made it look like a 356?
No, I'm definitely not doing that. That looks terrible.
It looks stupid, doesn't it? But the thing is, it's.
Have you seen the Berg Spider?
I don't think I have. Have I?
Check out Porsche Berg Spider. It's a white and green thing, single seater. Looks amazing. Supercar Blondie did a video on it. Anyway,
I probably have seen it.
Yeah, I'm thinking something like that.
Well, the thing is Jeff going to do it for you?
No, he's not. But you know what? I'm going to find out from him all the hard stuff. Because if anyone's learns the hard way, it's Jeff.
So he's just going to give you the benefit of all of his experience.
The IP. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. But we were talking about YouTube before, and he released his Sport video like within about 6 minutes of me releasing mine, coincidentally.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And I went ahead and watched his because he's only short, and it just reminded me of how good a time I had with he and Mike from Wrench. So it's if I know that Jeff listens occasionally. So Jeff, good video. Thanks for the company. It was good fun.
So going back to your Boxster thing.
Boxturd, yeah.
Boxturd. So what is a decent mid-range? Hang on, what is it? A 986?
Yeah, 986, yeah.
Okay, so what's a mid-range 986 3.2S worth over there working?
35 grand.
And the one that you're looking at, is that an S or is that 2.5?
No, it's just I don't know. But it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so what do you reckon you'd get that for, or do you not want to say?
10.
10, okay.
I'm guessing.
Actually, that would be a really good price for it.
And realistically, all joking aside, I reckon the project would cost me another 10.
No.
What?
I mean, getting the engine, gearbox, you need to get a new gearbox?
No.
The kit would allow you to use the existing one.
That's right. The kit comes with the bell housing conversion, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, so you've done that.
Yeah.
Then so you've got to buy the engine, buy the kit, do the work.
I reckon the engine will cost me 3 to 5 grand.
All right, so this is a second-hand engine out of a.
Of course,
right?
Someone's crashed,
Okay.
I reckon the kit landed will cost me about 3 grand, and the rest will just be my time, and all the ancillaries and odds and sods and stuff like that.
So you're going to do it yourself as well in your own.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, it's going to cost me another 10 for labour, isn't it? On something.
True. How far
something that's not going to work that well, really. If it doesn't work, what do I do? Go back to him and pay him another 10? I'd
Yeah,
rather
true.
waste my own time doing it and not work.
How far away do you live from Jeff? Just in
Not,
case.
not, not too far, only about 4,000 kilometres.
Oh yeah, so he could be there. He could be there in no time. It's like him going down the shops.
Yeah.
Just get him over. Invite him over for dinner and say, "Oh, by the way, while you're here."
I've got a guy that can cut and shut for me, who's done a lot of work for me in the
Does
past,
it,
right?
does it need cut and shutting?
Look, I don't know 100%, but there's a pretty good chance. I reckon it's going to need a bit of cutting and shutting.
Yeah, but if there's a kit, surely it would just,
Yeah, I
slide
don't
in
know.
there.
Yeah, but there might be chassis reinforcement bits that need to go on where the engine's mount or something like that need to be welded on. I don't know. I haven't done enough research yet. I'm shooting from the hip here. Is anyone out there? Is
Well, I
any
mean,
listeners out there done it? And can you tell me, am I barking up the wrong tree here?
Jeff's out there with his hand up going, "I've done it."
The reason Jeff,
I'd say
the reason, and let me tell you, the reason Jeff went with the Audi motor is
Hmm.
because the gearbox in a Boxster, he's told me, is a reversed front wheel drive Audi gearbox. And it bolts straight up, no adapters or anything.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know. I don't look, I think it's a 4.2 litre V8, that Audi V8 off memory, right? I should
Yeah, but is that
remember.
a reliable engine? Is that a reliable engine?
Look, I don't know, but they're, they're pretty solid, stout units, from my understanding. And I had an RS4 that had one in it for a little while. That was it was a good engine. Like, it made some amazing sound, and it went like the clappers.
Yeah, I mean they're great engines in those cars, but I don't know reliability wise that series of Audi was. I don't
Yeah,
know, like
I don't
like
know
in the
either.
BMWs with the plastic parts they put in the engines and it just graded brick them, I guess. But um but it's an interesting one. We should get Jeff back on.
I reckon, yeah, Jeff tells me he does listen when he works in the shed, so I know he's listening now. Jeff, come back on the podcast. We need an update on the Boxturd to talk me out of this.
Well, no, I don't know if we do. We need his expertise to talk through what you're planning on, this insanity that you're planning on doing. And he's going to go, "I've done it. Don't do it. You're mad."
Or he might say, "Great idea. I'm so glad I've gone down this path."
And then as soon as he hangs up, he'll be laughing.
He's look. I'd love to know whether or not his videos fund the project.
Well, I don't know on the Alpha though. The Alpha that would have cost a serious amount of money.
Looks amazing.
I guess he's doing all the stuff himself though, isn't he?
Yeah, like there was very little labour costs that I can see.
Yeah, so they must be funding it then.
I can't even imagine what a 360 motor costs, though. Can you?
I know. The and he's had it or he's rebuilt it or is it
No,
is it working?
it was working it was apparently working when he bought it, but he's since started it, so it does work.
Yeah, I saw the video because when I saw it that it had gone to a show, and I messaged him straight away and gone, "Have I missed a video? What how did you get it there?" And he's like, "No, it hasn't been fired up yet."
It has now, though. Have you watched his video from where he fired
Yeah,
it
I
up?
watched that one. I saw his reaction. His reaction was brilliant to
Yeah,
it.
that was the highlight of the video.
It really was. It was the rest of it was when when he had to come up to the camera to say yes. No, I mean, just that when I think about the amount, I mean, I totally get that reaction. The amount of hours he's put into that
Well,
and the effort.
they say he's 2 or 3 years into the project, I reckon.
Yeah, and then when he's hit the garage top onto the bodywork, did you see that?
Yes.
And I felt for him. I thought, oh man, I'm sure he could have cried then because
He
so
probably
much
did. He just
effort.
didn't film that bit.
Well, yeah, probably, but it's so much effort's gone into it, and he's got it to a point where I mean that bodywork and the way their engine looks, perfection.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And the stance, the way the wheels fill the arch,
Mate,
all of that.
I couldn't drive it.
I could not after if I'd put that much effort into something. Well, firstly, I would never do such a
Yeah,
thing.
it's going on a shelf.
If I did, it'd be like, no, I can't
Yeah,
take that
yeah.
anywhere near other people.
Just in case they breathe near it. The
Yeah, exactly.
it was what was really good at Rensport, spending the time with he and Mike from Wrench was how they look at everything differently and hearing the
Mm,
conversations because they're so hands on. They both do
yeah.
everything. So the way they look at things was really fascinating, and the conversation points that there are so many aspects of Porsche enthusiasts, which really opened my eyes up to like people who want to fold their own metal to get the perfect join and the things that are important to them when they look at the way a panel gap fits compared to the way I look at it, and the way the bumper fits and the radius and how sharp a radius is on a fold of a panel for where the bumper to sit into, and how that one's not right, but look at this one. And also, what was really interesting is how people hold German manufacture up as a gold standard from pretty much the war era onwards, right?
Mm,
And how individually manufactured so many of the race cars were, how imperfect they were put together because of what was needed to be done to get them on the track or for an event or after a crash or whatever, and even factory race cars, you look at where the wheels sit in the body, they're off to one side a little bit and stuff. And,
yeah.
and you find out through the car's history, it's actually never had a crash. That's just the way it is.
Well, that's an era thing, and the bizarre thing is, obviously after the war, Brits went over and tried to get the car manufacturing back on its feet, and obviously the Germans picked that ball up and ran with it and still haven't stopped running.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas over here, when those Brits came back over here, we just carried on doing the shit stuff that we were always doing. It's just, and that doesn't make sense to me because then my NGB Roadster that I had, which was a
Yes.
1968, and I didn't know this, and the guy at the garage told me this, and I couldn't find any reference to it online. But on the one side, the wheel was rubbing on the arch when I went around the bend. And this is 68, right? This isn't
Sure.
48,
Mm-hmm.
right? So and I'm saying to the guy, why is it rubbing on the arch? I don't understand. And he said, oh, there should be a slimmer wheel on that side. And I went, no, they're both the same size. And he went, that's your problem. And I went, my problem is the both the wheels on the back are the same size. And he went, yes. You just go, what? Just fold the arch in, will you? Which is what he did in the end.
That is classic. Classic. Anyway, look, I know you've got to jump to a meeting and it's a busy day for you.
Yes.
So it's been nice. Oh, before I go, just a quick shout out. I've got the Porsche Club of Western Australia's 40th anniversary cocktail party tomorrow evening. So I've been a member for I think 11 years of the club, so more than a quarter of its life.
I thought you were going to say 40 years.
Hey, Ajmal, I'm not as old as you, am I?
Wait, watch it. No, you're older.
But that can be measured in days, not years, though, I think. And so looking forward to tomorrow evening. That's being held at the Porsche Centre, Perth. So Porsche themselves are putting on the event, so it should be interesting. Hopefully, yes. I know.
James Bond style.
But it's not me. Honestly, Ajmal, I've worn a suit twice, ever. Once to my wedding and once to a friend's funeral. That's it.
See, I don't mind every now and again putting a suit on, but I did throw them all away when we moved house. When you go, here's a suit that I may have spent quite a lot of money on, and you go, that's from 10 years ago. I didn't even know I still had it. So I dug out a whole. There are a few of them. I had a tux that I bought maybe 19 years ago. And I remember it was the first big event that I went to with my wife when we first met.
Sure.
And she said it's black tie, and I thought, shit. So I went and looked, trying to hire one. And I was in the hire shop and he was telling me how much it was. And he said, oh, but I haven't got one in your size. And I
No,
just look over on the peg and they've got some massive sale on. They're having a clear out. And I try one on and it's £50 more than hiring it. And it looks made to measure.
perfect.
So I got that. I wore it 3 times and I that's the money back. I would have hired 3 times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then I never wore it again. Like I put it on when we moved house and I found it. And my body shape's changed so much in nearly 20 years. It didn't even fit properly. So everything's gone.
Well, see, that's the problem I've got. I thought maybe I should get a nice tux or something like that for, I'm approaching a part of my life where there's an expectation when I attend higher caliber events, and probably a nice way to describe it, right? And I tried them on and I'm just not built for them. Like I'm 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide, right? So, and most modern suits are relatively slim fitting, and I'm just, don't get me wrong, I'm not a heavy person by any metric, but my stature just doesn't seem to suit. I look like, I don't know, page boy. You would be able to,
See, my wife loves it when I wear a suit.
yeah, look, my wife wouldn't know. Because, like I said, I've only done it twice, and once at our wedding day. I've still got that suit, but that's 20 years ago. That looks as comical now as it did then.
Well, I had to buy one. I had to buy one um last summer was it? Last summer because I got invited as a guest to one of those fancy enclosures at Royal Ascot.
Sure,
But you have to wear a suit to even get in.
sure.
So I had to, when you wake up on the day and you go, right, okay, and then you go, shit. That's when I read the dress code. And then you just run straight out, grab a suit, put it on, get on the train, and go straight from the shop with your clothes in a bag.
And then hope for Christ that you win, you pick the right horse, right, so that you cover the cost of the suit.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't win anything. I think I must have spent £30 on bets, which is a huge amount for me because I don't gamble at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I can't. Yeah, I can't even comprehend it. I worked too
Yeah,
hard to give
I
the
didn't know what
money
to
away.
do. Yeah, I didn't even know what to do when I was there. And someone said, "Oh, you've got to pick a horse from there," and you go, "Right, okay." So
That
I
one.
picked one.
Yeah, I like the color. I like the cut of its jib.
That's it. She just pick it. And I said to her, how am I supposed to pick one? I haven't even seen the horse yet. And they go, that's not how you pick them. That's how I pick them. Anyway, I've got to go.
Anyway, I got back to where we were. I got that event tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's catch up again soon.
Yes.
Listeners out there.
We will, definitely.
Listeners out there, thank you very much for tuning in again. Really appreciate the support we've been getting. For those interested, I've started recording these podcasts and posting on my YouTube channel. So if you want to watch a couple of balding middle-aged men crap on, you can do so rather than just listen to us if that tickles your fancy. Ajmal is at Flat Cat Driver on most social media, and I am at Marc and Cars. That's MARC, Marc and Cars. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Ajmal, as always, it's been a pleasure. Let's catch up again soon.
Catch up soon.